It's my great pleasure to finally get to introduce and meet for the first time Mr. Vernon Wells. Good morning from Australia.
Hey, Shane, how are you, sir? Yes, good old. Whereabouts in Australia are you, sir?
I am on the Central Coast, which is just near Terrigal, in between Sydney and Newcastle.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, of course, you probably know I come from Victoria, Melbourne. So
Yes,
I'm kind of at the other end of the spectrum there.
there's always that
Nice.
rivalry between Sydney and Melbourne. It's still there.
Yeah.
Now, I've got to ask first, Tony Bonner says hello. A big hello
Oh
to
my
you.
God. Say hello to Tony for me, please. Love Tone.
Yes, he speaks very highly of you. I interviewed him not that long ago, and he has some great stories to tell, like no doubt you do.
Yes, the Bond man. Yeah.
Now,
Known Tony for a long time.
yeah, you're both very veteran, legend Australian actors, and still going strong, obviously.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the Christmas tapes. That's why we're here talking today. The Christmas
Um,
tapes. You played Santa. That's a big deal.
yeah, it's kind of fun. This whole thing of doing a Christmas movie where Santa Claus is this total villain. I love it actually because I feel that a good horror movie takes these things that we look at in life, like clowns and Santa Claus and fairies and all these things, and then making them into these villainous thing. It's terrifying because suddenly the one thing that you feel safe, sitting on Santa's knee, you suddenly realize that Santa could just rip your head off. That's a terrifying experience. So what we're doing is working off people's innate fear
Yeah.
of not the unknown, but the known, because they know Santa, and now suddenly Santa is this mean, vicious, rotten human being. I love it. That's me. And doing this character was just so much fun. I had a ball.
Did you put on any weight to become jolly?
Did I put on any weight to become jolly? Yeah, actually, strangely enough, when I did that film, I was probably about 25, maybe 30 pounds heavier than I am now.
Yeah.
I've come down quite a bit in weight, and so he was a jolly old Santa without having, and I still had to wear padding because they wanted him to have a bigger fat stomach and all this stuff. I was
Right.
like, ah, boy, everybody will love this.
And did you use your own beard, or did they have a beard extension or anything like that, a wig?
No, they left my beard because I've got the white beard. So they said, well, why would we put another white beard on you? That'd be silly.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
yeah, I left the beard. I
It's a
think
little
I
bit.
had the hair beard around my neck.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't remember exactly. It's a couple of years ago since we did it. But maybe we didn't. But I know they left my beard. My beard was the one that we used.
It's a little bit different to your previous Christmas movie, Christmas Collision with Michael Paré.
Yeah. Me and Michael, we're a pair of wags, truly. Yeah, I've done, the funny thing is I've done like maybe 5 or 6, 7 Christmas movies, and they're all, I did one 2 years ago about a dog. It was his Christmas.
Yep.
And I've done, what was it? Christmas Night, Jolly Night, something like another one where I actually, a friend of mine, it was one of the first ones I did because horror was never something that I was going to get into because
Really?
it's like typecasting me. It's like, oh yeah, Vernon's doing a horror movie. Well, of course he is, that kind of thing. So I was trying to keep it at arm's length. And a friend of mine rang me up one day and said, I'm doing this Christmas horror movie. I want you to be in it. And I went, nah. And he said, let me tell you what the part is. And I went, oh, fine, whatever.
Right.
And he said, well, number one, Santa gets killed in the first 4 minutes of the film. And I went, continue. And then he said, you play, and it's all about vampires. Not vampires, sorry, about the people that eat people when they get really weird.
Cannibals, maybe.
Sorry?
Maybe cannibals. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
sort of like that. And it's one of those. And he said, they've taken over the world basically, and there's just these pockets of humanity. And you play this big Australian, and you're coming in to save the day, follow me, I can get you out of this type thing. And he said, so we got this whole thing where you come in and you shoot your way through all these, these mounds of them, and you get into this place where all these people can say, I'll get you out of this. We're going to go to the airport. We've got the airport barricaded. Everybody will be safe. So just follow me. And I go downstairs and I crash through the door and they kill me. And I went, I love it. I just love it. This big Australian hero gets butchered the first act. So it appealed to me from that respect. Well, of course, after that, everybody and his dog said, I got this horror movie. You'd be great in.
Right.
So it became a thing. And I enjoy it.
What do you think it is about horror at the moment? Because there's like a huge resurgence in the last decade. And I think that's got a lot to do with streaming. But do you think the horror movies are what sell because they're popular instead of a lot of commercial movies, maybe?
Yeah, there's always been, if you think about it, horror has always been one of those things that if you're young and you're getting into the movie business that you can do, and it's going to be successful no matter what it's like.
Yeah, true.
Because horror's always been that staple. Horror's simple. Like you give somebody a knife and stick a mask on their face, and they go around killing people, and suddenly you've got a horror movie, and everybody's there. So there's a simplicity to it, but also, as I said before, we work on the base fears of who we are.
Oh yeah.
People. My theory is that horror's been around as long as we have as human beings, because back when we climbed out of the trees, we sat around a fire. I'm sure that the elder people in the unit would tell the young ones, you've got to keep the fire going, because if you don't, then out there in the darkness, there are things that you don't want to see. And if that fire isn't kept burning, they're going to come in and they're going to get you. And that horror. So we started using horror as a way of getting what we needed.
Yeah.
And it was just a base fear that we had. The darkness is horror. You get into that darkness, things will get you. And so I think that's where it started. And today, even in a horror movie, that's the way a horror movie plays out, is normally it's like, don't go into that room. If you go into that room, there's something in that room that will get you. But what happens? The hero always goes into that room and gets got.
Oh, for sure. You always make the wrong decision in a horror movie, right?
Yep. It's like, I just love that commercial. It's on TV about the kids when they're running away from something, and there's a house in front of them, and there's a car over there with the engine running, and they go, let's get to the car. No. Let's hide in the garage. And they all run into the garage, and the guy's there with a chainsaw watching them as they all come in, like, oh, this is cool. So that is our base fear. We always make the wrong choice, and we always go into the room when we shouldn't. And that's why horror to me is so successful. And what's happened is, as I see in what I do as an actor, there's the movies I get asked to do now, the horror films, are so much better.
Right.
I mean, these are like an A-list film. They're just so beautifully written, so well put together.
Right.
A film I did just came out called Frost with Deveni Pin.
Okay.
And I mean, that is an amazing film. It really is an amazingly beautifully shot film, and she is brilliant in it. And so you're proud to be in that. You're like, yeah. Not that I'm not proud to be in everything I do, but I mean, you get into a movie that's more like, it's not relying just on the horror.
I understand.
Which is very similar to what we did in this with the Christmas Tales. It's not relying just on horror. What it's doing is relying on that sense of, we feel safe with Santa Claus. And
Well,
now we can't be safe with Santa
that's
Claus
right.
because Santa Claus is an a-hole. Um, and you know, to me, it's like simple. I feel that I'm doing a public service because playing Santa Claus the way I did now, thousands of parents will not have to buy their children presents because they don't want anything from Santa Claus. So I've saved people a lot of money. So I think they should be happy with me.
I got it. Well, how did you get into character? Was there any particular thing you did to become Santa Claus, or did you just take it straight from the script?
Now, you know, the funny thing is that I was talking to the director and writers when we first started this little project.
Yeah.
And I said, so what do you want me to do? And he kind of looked at me and said, you want me to tell you how to act? And I said, no, you don't have to tell me how to act, but tell me how you see the character. And he went, what do you think? I went, okay. Then I said, this is how I feel, the character. We went through it. And I said, I think the character should be fun. If we play him as being horrific or being this thing, it won't work. He's got to be fun. He's got to be doing this, and you've got to watch him and go, oh my God, he's such an asshole. And that makes it work.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it. We just got into this. The character was going to be fun. He was enjoying himself. He was doing something that to him was fun.
Yeah.
And so that relates to the people. So when you're watching it, you don't go, you're like, oh, this is really cool. Oh, God damn, you know?
It's very gruesome,
So,
but it's fun.
yes. Yeah. And I think that was one of the nice things about doing it. But, yeah, once again, I do it. I enjoy it.
Of course.
It's that thing.
What can you explain the longevity of your career? I think it's just non-stop. Even through COVID, it seemed like you were still getting
Yeah.
positions in movies and
Well,
projects.
I have a simple reason for the longevity of my career. There are a lot of idiots in the business.
Even now.
No. I, you know, somebody asked me this one day, and I was talking to a director who uses me occasionally, and I said to him, so why do you keep using me? You know, you ring me up whenever you're doing a movie and say, hey, dude, I'm doing a movie. You free?
Yeah.
And I said, so why? And he said, well, when I first met you, you were this dumbass. And he said, then eventually you actually grew up.
Right.
And he said, now you're a great actor. And
Right.
so, of course, I'm going to use you. And I think he was right in the fact that I stopped trying to be an actor and impress people.
Sure.
What I did was I went the exact reverse. I went, you know what? It doesn't matter. Get out there and have fun. Do your job. Do it to the best of your ability, and everything's going to be fine. Don't try to impress people. Just do your job. Yeah. And once I started doing that, I haven't stopped work.
I think that your movies in Australia were different to what they were when you went to America, but you stayed the same person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm still Vernon.
Yeah.
I still talk with an Australian accent. I'm never going to change.
Well, that's good. And it's the 30th anniversary this year of Mad Max 2, of course. Yeah. And I'm guessing you get asked about it nearly every day, I'm assuming.
Yeah, there's a, it's funny because I did about, 12 months ago, in a period of like 3 months, I did 2 films for Japanese directors. One of them is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And the other one is just a straight shoot 'em up, kill 'em, you know, which is kind of fun because the Japanese really get into that stuff.
They do.
And I'm going actually to Japan on the 22nd of November. It is opening at the Tokyo Comic Con on the 24th. And nice. They asked me to come across, and also with Mr. Michael Pare, who's in it as well. So he's coming across. So the both of us are going over there.
Yeah.
And they sent me my Japanese. I love the Japanese. Everything is so precise. This is what you're doing every day, every minute of every day, you know, that sort of thing. And I was like, And every day I've got like a 45-minute to an hour of doing a thing on stage about the film. But on the second day, I have a 45-minute thing on stage to an hour of Mad Max.
Unreal.
And I went, what? Mad Max? What? And so they are so into Mad Max over there. They want me to do this whole big thing on stage about Mad Max. And I
Amazing.
thought that is so funny that after all these years, they would request that I do an hour on stage
It's
about Mad
amazing.
Max.
Well, I correct myself. I said 30th anniversary. It's actually 40th anniversary. Uh, and I was too young to see it at the cinema when it was released, but I have since become to love it. And also, I have a copy of Girlfriend from Hell, where you play Bruce. Shrimp on the Barbie, as it's called in America.
Yeah, the original one. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I have a DVD copy of that. Your character of Bruce was, now talk about outrageous comedy. I think you're good at comedy too, and I don't think you do enough of it anymore.
I know. I keep trying to convince people to let me be funny, and they got to go, what? But I love comedy, and in that one, yeah, Bruce was just over the top fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I just loved him. He was so much fun. The whole film was just a total scream for all of us when we were doing it. But I
Yes.
do occasionally, I get asked to do a film where there's a lot of comedy involved, which I love. It's just, I think I'm naturally funny because I'm an idiot. So I like to get that, I can do that in on screen. But most people like to see me when I'm very focused, serious, doing it.
Well, another comedy, of course, was when you were directed by Blake Edwards
Yep.
in Sunset. What was
Yep.
that experience like? Because he's a legendary.
Oh man, that was that was the first time I ever met Bruce Willis, and
Tell me all about it.
it was an interesting experience because that was when Bruce had just come off his series, so he was a little bit of a, and it was very funny because I walked in because as you know, you've seen the film. I play an Australian champion boxer in it,
Yes.
and I walked into my dressing room. There was an envelope on the counter, and it was like to Vernon Wells. And I thought, oh, we usually when you go in, you'll get an envelope that tells you what's going on, what you're doing, and all this kind of thing, and your per diem and all that stuff.
Right.
So I didn't worry about it. I just opened it, and it was $500 from the crew if I decked Bruce Willis.
Oh no! Come on, that's.
And they were sick of him. And it was funny. Blake Edwards came up to me when I walked onto the set. He walked over and said, "I need to talk to you." And I said, yes, Mr. Edwards. And he said, if you deck our star, no matter how much they paid you, you're in deep shit. Now give them back their money. And I went, oh, okay, that'll be nice.
You would never have done it anyway, right? Of
No,
course. No.
it was just very funny that they asked me to.
Yeah.
They were just fed up, and it was hysterical. But no, I don't work like that.
No, of course
But,
not.
but of course, Blake didn't know that, so he was just a little worried that maybe I'd get out there and deck their star. So he was like, we better stop this before it starts. But no, I love that film. I had so much fun in it. The funny thing is that about 9 months after the film was completed, I got asked to go back and reshoot the end sequence of my
Really?
character. And I was hired back for 2 days, and they had 2 stunt guys to do all the stunt work,
Yeah.
and me to be there to just be, when my ass hit the floor, it was me, and when it was going through the table, it was someone else. And they paid me a huge amount of money to do it. I mean, I was stunned. My manager rang me up and said, I don't know how to tell you this, but you got to go back and reshoot part of the film. And I went, we shot that like a year and a half ago. Right. And he said, yeah, well, they're not happy with something. And I said, okay. So I go back on the set, and then it's, I get thrown through the door, I get thrown through the window, I get thrown through the table, this whole bit. And I went, oh, this is going to hurt. They're going to throw me through doors and windows, because I'm Australian. In Australia, they throw you through the friggin' door. In America, they have a stunt guy do it. So right. I'm sort of looking at what I've got to do, thinking, "Oh, this is going to hurt. I don't like this too much." And these 2 stunt guys come in. They go, "Mr. Wells, yeah, my name's so and so, and I'll be doing the stunts when you're coming through the door." And I get out, and I get thrown into. And I went, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, where are your stunt doubles?" And I went, "Hang on, I'm on the set for 2 days being paid a hell of a lot of money to sit on my ass while you two guys get thrown through walls and doors and
Amazing.
tables. I like this. This is cool. This is like, I could do this more often. So it was kind of fun. Yeah, it's a different attitude. I mean, I still do a lot of my own stunts because I enjoy it. It's like, get
Well, you
out
look
there.
like you're fighting fit. You look very healthy, happy.
Yep.
Obviously, your career's still going, and I think it's amazing, Vernon, that you're happy and just getting so much work and enjoying it, especially.
I have not one complaint in my life.
Me
You know, I'm
either.
married to an amazing lady who is
Yep.
Japanese American, who, by the way, if you mention her name to Tony, he will drool. Um, she is just the most amazingly beautiful lady who just, anyway,
Okay.
I struck the jackpot when I got that one, believe me.
Looks after you. That's good to hear.
Sorry?
Looks after you. That's good to hear.
Oh, yeah, she looks after me and she's just an amazing human being. And everything is copacetic in my life. I work, I have plenty of work. I don't have to get upset or worried. I do what I enjoy. The films I get asked to do are really cool films. They're really, really fun to do,
They
and I
are.
enjoy doing them. And I get a lot of diversity in character. And I mean, if you look at it, the character of Santa Claus in the Christmas tapes is a comedy anyway. I mean, he's hysterical in
Basically.
reality.
Yeah.
He's just totally out of control and out there. And that's what I love, is I'm not being asked to do the same thing. That's the same thing. Because when I first came to America, when they brought me over here, was to do a send up of Wes from Mad Max
That
in
weird science, of
yeah,
course.
Weird Science. And I didn't want to do it. I was like, no, anyway. So I came over, and then they started bringing me back to do things. But even though the films I got were huge, like Commando, Inner Space, and all these films, it was basically the same thing continuously, like the same character with a different name.
Sure.
And I hated it. And I was like, yeah, I just couldn't do this for the rest of my life. I would go insane. Something's got to change. And actually, what changed was somebody met me. And I love this. Like in America, they always say, you can be sitting in a coffee shop having coffee, and a producer will walk and go, hey, we're doing a movie. You would be so good for it. That basically happened to me.
Really? That's incredible.
But they knew who I was
Yeah.
because I wasn't an unknown. But they said, got this movie, and it's about a gay girl and her two parents, and this football coach who is totally anti-gay, and his top player is gay, and we'd love you to do it.
Right.
And I went, what? And they said, we'd love you to do it because you'd be perfect for it. And I went, what the? And that started it all.
Okay.
That film suddenly made people realize I wasn't just the Mad Max character. I could actually play other characters that have other things.
You have
And I'll
range.
always remember that those guys were so generous to me. And they were just very sweet. And the funny thing, somebody said to me on the set one day, you're the only straight guy on the set. And like, I said, yeah, I kind of figured that out.
Yeah.
But it was just that thing. It started people looking at me from a different way.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, oh, this is cool. And I'll just give you a really quick story about how ridiculous it was. I got asked to do an audition. So I get the sides, I read it, and it's like basically Wes. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be
Oh,
kidding.
here we go again.
There we go again. So I go in for the audition, and it's a round table. There's all these producers, directors, and the casting guys sitting there. And he said, we'd like to tell you how we see the character. And I said, no, I've got a pretty good handle on it. And I said, no, this is a specific character. So if you don't mind, I said, fine, shoot. And this is serious to God. I swear on my mother's grave, this is how the conversation went.
Right.
Did you ever see the film Mad Max? Yes. Yeah, the second one, Road Warrior. Yes. remember the character in that, the guy that had the red mohawk? I went,
Oh
yes.
my God.
I swear to God. And I'm sitting there thinking this is a send up. You know, somewhere there's a camera pointed at me and they're
Yeah,
going to go, gotcha.
there's a
Right.
catch.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just sort of be polite, looking around the room a little bit, wondering where the hell have they got the camera? And yes, and he said, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for someone that can pull that off, that type of character. We haven't been able to find the guy. We're still looking for him.
Oh my
And I'm
goodness.
thinking, seriously, this has to be a send up. Nobody can be that stupid to be sitting opposite me and telling me they're looking for me. Swear to God. And I did the audition. And then I realized by that time, by the way, that it wasn't a send up. These clowns had no clue.
Right.
I did the audition, and the guy goes, and they all huddle for a second, you know, like they do. And he comes back to me and he says, everybody loved it. That was so good. You were so close to how that character was. And I said, yeah? And I said, oh, no, really good. Look, dude, if we can't find the guy that did it, it's yours.
Oh my
And
goodness,
he
this
said,
is
you don't happen
incredible,
to have
this
your
story.
resume with you, do you? And I said, yeah, sure. So I sort of flipped it across the table to him. And it was 3 photographs. There was a photograph of me, and then a photograph from Commando in a corner, and a photograph of Wes in the other corner. And he
Sure.
picked it up and he looked, and he said, oh, these are very, and he just looked up at me and I went, uh-huh. You know what? I think I'm busy for the next 10 years. Thanks for the audition, though, and left.
Oh wow, that's Vernon. I can't believe that story. That is
Yeah, it was just,
insane.
I rang my manager straight away and I went, man, I told him the whole thing and he went, you're kidding. I'll ring him up now. And I said, no, don't, please. Just leave it. I've just told him I'm not doing their movie. I said, but I just find it, you know, seriously, it wasn't, I was pissed off that they didn't know who I was. What I was pissed off about was they didn't have the courtesy to find out who the people they were auditioning were, not
Mm,
just me, everybody.
exactly.
They just didn't have the courtesy to look at the thing and go, oh, this is Vernon Wells. He's done these films. And this is, you know, Joe Schmo. He's done all these other films. Didn't
No,
give a shit.
it would have taken 30 seconds, to
Yeah.
do.
So
Wow.
that's what pissed me off the most, was that they didn't have the courtesy to do that. But yeah, so that was way back. I mean, a million years ago in my career here. But it's just funny that was where I was typecast. You know, as this brutal killer. And
Yeah, well, I mean, even though
even
you didn't like playing it, that part in Weird Science has become just historic because it is one of the best teen movies ever made by John Hughes. And
yeah, it's fun. And by the way, I don't regret it.
no, sure.
It's just that eventually what it does is it starts to become, is this all there is? Remember that
Mm,
film? Is
yeah,
this all there is?
yeah,
That's where you get to that point going, is this all there is?
of
You know,
course. Well, you've
I can
gone
do this
beyond
with
that
my
now.
eyes closed. Yeah, please give me something I actually have to do. But
Well,
no, I mean, I have gone on with longevity, thank God. And I now get such a range of, you know, I've played fallen priests, I've played fathers, I've played grandfathers, um, I've played heads of the Chicago mob. You name it, I've done it. And it's been this whole thing of different roles, different characters, different things, and I'll never get sick of it. It'll
mm,
just, you know, I don't care if I'm 300 years old, I'm still going to be doing this.
oh, that's such a good attitude to have. Uh,
Oh yeah, it's never going to end. I'm going to beat Bonner, damn it.
I'll let Tony know.
Yeah, tell Tony I'm going to stick around longer than he will, damn you, Bonner. But yeah, he used to come over to America and stay at our house.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah, down, because we're down on the beach. And he used to come over and stay at the house, and he would always write to me and say, "Is my room available?" Like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, Tony. Yes, your room is available. It used to be great. He'd come over and we'd hoover about, have fun together. Um, but yeah, he's a great friend. I love him to
Good to
pieces. And
hear.
I did a film with him finally in Australia with a young Australian director, writer, Travis, up in Queensland.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Landfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, and do you want to hear a funny story about that?
I'm sure we've got another 5 minutes. Okay.
I won the best supporting actor for it, right?
Congratulations.
And my, I think it was the best actor. I think it was best actor. I got best actor for it. And my wife went, "That's a bit of a piss off." And I went, "What?" And she went, "I thought Bonner was much better than you." And
Oh my
that's it.
goodness.
That is it. He never comes to my house again.
That's
It
good.
was just so funny. She went, "Well, I thought that Tony should have won it." Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that.
Uh,
But
I,
yeah,
I know we have to wrap this up. I would like to actually talk to you maybe another time because I want to talk about Stuart Gordon, your friendship with him.
oh, definitely. Yes, Uncle
On
Stu.
Yeah, Stuart, of course, Fortress and Space
Yeah,
Truckers. But I guess, Vernon,
King of the Ants.
I'll let you
He
go.
also did King of the Ants.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So,
Yep.
yeah, maybe that can be another chat another day. But
I would love to. Love
thank
to, my
you.
friend. You just arrange it. I'll do it. No problems. I would love to
Oh,
do it.
thank you very much. Well, finally, before we go, your final words on the Christmas tapes. It's out now to watch streaming. It's an anthology, a Christmas comedy horror. You play Santa. What can you tell people about it and why should they watch it in your own words?
I think they should watch it because it's fun. It's a lot of stupidity all put together in a 1.5 hour film from 4 different points of view.
Yes.
Um, I just think people should enjoy it. It's one of those. It's not to be taken seriously, but it's serious. And I think that's a good reason. And also, as I said before, let your kids watch it. They'll never ask for Christmas presents from Santa again. I gotta
Good
save you
point.
money.
Thank you very much, Vernon. I hope it all goes well for you and we will talk again.
Thank you, Shane. It was my pleasure. And please, I know you guys don't celebrate Turkey Day over there, but regardless, with the holidays coming up, please have a wonderful Christmas holidays and be safe under every condition. You and your family and everybody, please be safe.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'll be going surfing, having a little bit of time off and hitting the beach and watching movies, probably. That'll be my relaxation.
Good for you, my friend. Enjoy it.
Cheers, Vernon. I'm stopped recording.